As the world struggles to process the passing of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, shocking new details have emerged about the aftermath, including a will that may not be as ironclad as once believed and the unexpected complications surrounding their estate. Gene's nephew, Tim Hackman, recently revealed that Betsy had been managing most of Gene's personal affairs in his later years, acting as his primary caregiver and liaison to the rest of the family. With her gone as well, control of Gene's estate is now in flux. For years, it was assumed that Betsy, being 31 years younger than Gene, would be the one to handle his funeral and estate affairs when the time came. However, with both passing unexpectedly at their Santa Fe home, the situation has taken a dramatic and unforeseen turn. Tim Hackman, who honestly hadn't seen Gene in over 10 years, expressed how unprepared the family was for the shocking news. According to reports, Gene's daughter, Leslie, was the first family member notified, relaying the devastating update to relatives. Tim mentioned that the family was unaware of any severe health issues, reinforcing the sense of disbelief. This may sound strange to most, seeing that Gene was 95 years old and had a pacemaker implant. It may just show how disconnected the family may have been in recent times, and because none of the family had been in constant contact and some hadn't seen him for months, it shows that their relationship with Gene may have not been exactly on the best terms. Insiders reveal that in his later years, Gene had become increasingly reliant on Betsy, not just as his wife, but as the gatekeeper of his personal affairs. She managed finances, legal matters, and even served as the primary point of contact between him and extended family. With her gone, the once meticulously planned succession of his estate has been thrown into uncertainty. The will and estate battle begins. Gene Hackman's fortune, estimated at over $80 million, was believed to be safeguarded by a carefully crafted will, which had reportedly been updated multiple times in recent years. His children are now expected to take control of legal proceedings, but sources indicate that it may not be a simple transfer of assets. One of the biggest complications stems from Betsy's legal status as Gene's spouse. She was likely the primary beneficiary of his will, meaning that with her death, certain assets could now be subject to complex probate laws. This could lead to delays, legal red tape, and even potential disputes over the interpretation of Gene's final wishes. Gene had changed his will several times over the years, so it's unclear whether Gene's last update to his will accounted for a scenario in which both he and Betsy passed away together. If not, portions of his estate could become subject to state intestacy laws, potentially opening the door for extended family members or other claimants to contest the distribution. And here is the big whopper. Betsy Arakawa has a surviving relative too, though it is her mother who has dementia and does not fully understand what has happened to her daughter. But there's no way hungry lawyers are going to pass up the opportunity to get involved and get in the way of Gene's family taking everything, especially since Gene most likely left the majority of what he owned to Betsy. This is surely going to be a long, drawn-out battle in the courts. It is obvious that all involved are unprepared for this complicated scenario that's been dropped in their laps. Now, if that weren't enough drama, they also have to hear about all the growing speculation about what actually happened to Gene and Betsy. Authorities confirm open pill bottles and scattered pills near Betsy's body. While there has been no official ruling of foul play, online discussions have erupted over whether external factors, such as medication issues or an unknown health crisis, may have played a role in their sudden passing. And we now know Gene had a pacemaker that stopped on February 17th. Making the situation even stranger, the couple's deceased pet was found dead inside a bathroom closet about 10 to 15 feet away, raising further questions about whether an undetected environmental factor could have contributed to the tragedy. However, the affidavit stated that there were no immediate signs of a gas leak. And the rampant speculation of foul play. None of this stuff makes it easier for the families involved. What happens next? With both Gene and Betsy gone, the responsibility of handling funeral arrangements has fallen on his children. Given Gene's lifelong preference for privacy, it is expected that his final farewell will be an intimate, family-only affair rather than a public spectacle. Gene Hackman, who retired from the limelight years ago, had a winding journey before his Hollywood breakthrough. At 36, he gained recognition for his role as Buck Barrow in Bonnie and Clyde, 1967, a part he landed after missing out on the iconic Mr. Robinson role in The Graduate. Before Hollywood, Hackman served in the Marines and struggled to make ends meet in California and New York, even sharing an apartment with Dustin Hoffman. He worked various odd jobs, including truck driving and as a doorman. After Bonnie and Clyde, Hackman starred in films like The French Connection, Hoosiers, Unforgiven, and The Firm, solidifying his status as a leading man. He became known for portraying complex characters, often authoritative figures or cunning villains. Hackman's portrayal of Lex Luthor in the Superman films remains one of his most iconic, combining intelligence and menace. Hackman won 2 Academy Awards, one for The French Connection, 1971, as Popeye Doyle, and another for Unforgiven, 1992, as the ruthless Sheriff Little Bill. He played a wide range of characters across dramas, comedies, and action films. In the early 2000s, Hackman retired at 74 after a stress test led to medical advice to avoid further strain. He mostly stayed out of the spotlight, making rare appearances at award shows. Hackman's later years were spent writing novels and living quietly with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, in Santa Fe. They adopted 3 German shepherds and enjoyed watching independent films together.
And the toxicology, but again...
As investigations continue and legal matters unfold, Hollywood and fans worldwide mourn the loss of one of cinema's greatest actors. Gene Hackman's legacy is undeniable, but his final chapter is far from settled. The battle over his estate, the unanswered questions surrounding his and Betsy's passing, and the legal complexities now in play ensure that this story is far from over. His legacy endures in the film world. Tributes poured in following his passing, with director Francis Ford Coppola remembering him as a remarkable artist and filmmaker Edgar Wright calling him the greatest. George Takei described Hackman as one of the true giants of the screen, praising his ability to embody any character with depth and complexity. So the investigation continues and legal matters are being primed up, while fans and the film industry heavily mourn the loss of one of Hollywood's greatest icons. Gene Hackman left behind a legacy that will endure for generations, but his final chapter is still being written. On the Anything History channel, we will try to keep you informed on this evolving story. Thanks for watching.